Welcome to this week's edition of the FA Show. I'm Nate Barrett. We start this week with big news from JP Morgan. In a statement released last week, CEO Phil Sieg outlined plans to refocus on the cadre of traditional brokers at its JP Morgan Advisors unit and more than double its headcount to 1,000 from 450 advisors. Hitting that target may take 5 to 7 years, and growth is expected to come primarily from hiring laterals, including seasoned veterans and early-stage advisors, as well as bringing on a couple dozen trainees and career changers per year into a new development program. A FINRA arbiter granted this week expungements of 10 customer complaints for 2 UBS Wealth Management USA brokers who in 2019 won a related $3 million whistleblower award from the Securities and Exchange Commission. Brookfield, Wisconsin brokers Glenn Ringwald and Mark Mannion, who joined UBS in 2012, won that whistleblower award based on allegations that their former employer, Merrill Lynch Wealth Management, had made misleading statements about proprietary, volatility-linked structured note products. Their whistleblowing contributed to a $10 million SEC settlement in 2016 with Merrill Lynch. In the award, the arbiter, Leon Fox, justified granting the expungements on the basis that the firm, and not Ringwald and Mannion, were at fault. In more FINRA-related news, the agency continues to aggressively scout out violations related to brokers' unreported outside business activities. Earlier this month, FINRA suspended a former Morgan Stanley Texas broker from the industry for 3 months and issued a $5,000 fine against him for allegedly setting up a company to help raise money for small businesses without telling the firm. The letter sanctioning the broker, who was with Morgan Stanley in its Dallas office for only 1 year, follows a string of disciplinary actions that FINRA has taken recently. FINRA officials have made no secret about their interest in enforcing its rule about unreported outside business activities, particularly as brokers were working remotely during the COVID-19 shutdown.
This week we feature an excerpt from Advisor Hub publisher Tony Sirianni's interview with Patrick Jenksi. Patrick is the head of advisory business consulting for wealth management at Cetera Financial Group.
You know, some of the things that are there are things I think we can all just take and throw. We're happy to leave behind us some of the dumpster fire that was 2020, right? But there are some things that came out of it that were good, like technology, like things that we're doing, right now. What are some of the things you think you're going to keep going forward? Like in terms of now we're all sort of into Zoom, you think advisors are going to keep doing that? I mean, they're not going to throw it away, right?
And it's based on client demand, right? Investors have found the convenience and ease of engaging with advisors using technology. And so that has served as a catalyst for many advisors being early adopters of some of the technology, but also some of the laggards, folks who have been resistant to the idea in the past. This pandemic has certainly accelerated their willingness to embrace the technology. So to your question there, we do expect that technology that allows greater collaboration between advisors and their clients will continue to be a staple going forward for our clients.
And the other thing, I always ask about, and I guess, I'm sort of two minds about it, is the real estate. So Cetera, you have advisors in all kinds of offices. You have, W2 channel as well as sort of, the independent guy. What do you think is going to happen with advisor offices? And I understand, start with you have some long-term leases. That's just the way it is, right? It was always a smart thing to do in our business, sign a 10-year lease. But do you see office configurations changing sort of based on the new technology, or people maybe doing less of one thing than they did before and more of another?
So I do expect that technology will be, and real estate in particular, will be revisited as we look at the future and recognizing the square footage needs, right? Let's acknowledge, you're hearing terms now like hoteling, right? Being thoughtful about, does each individual advisor need a single home office to have access to, or can they share that with other advisors as well? So we're being prudent and thoughtful in our own footprint, to your point, around looking at leases that we have that are maturing and considering whether or not it's a good investment for us to consider downsizing in some potential areas. So we're taking a closer look at that, as you might imagine, and counseling our advisors as well to be thoughtful about how to engage using technology and remove the requirement for the office space that many of them have been enjoying over the years. But I think this pandemic has brought to light the flexibility of enabling advisors to work remotely.
For the complete interview as well as other interviews with industry leaders and influencers, head over to advisorhub.com.
We turn now to the recruiting wire powered by 3X Equity, the authority on advisor transitions. A former Morgan Stanley broker fired last year over account coding issues has reunited with his team to launch an independent practice affiliated with LPL Financial Strategic Wealth Services channel for wirehouse breakaways. Jeffrey L. Prince, who was expelled from Morgan Stanley in November and had since been flying solo at LPL in Westlake Village, California, was joined by his former colleagues Stephen L. Balin and Jody A. Cohen, according to registration records. The trio, who had managed $700 million in client assets at Morgan Stanley, are calling their new practice PBC Private Wealth, according to an announcement on Tuesday from LPL. They also have a second office in Las Vegas. The three-broker team is the 10th to affiliate with LPL's fledgling SWS model, which launched in April 2020. LPL, the largest independent broker-dealer with more than 17,000 reps, added the new structure to appeal to higher-end wirehouse teams who receive additional transition, marketing, and business management support in exchange for a flat fee. JP Morgan appears to be pushing back against a tide of departing private bankers who have left in recent months, mostly for a wirehouse UBS Wealth Management USA, with some selective hires into its New York City office. Since April, the firm's private bank has nabbed defectors from UBS and other close rivals like Citi, as well as Dynasty Financial's former chief investment officer, according to a company spokeswoman who declined to provide figures on client assets or annual revenue for any of the producing hires. In the most recent of moves, Emily Brunner on Wednesday joined JP Morgan Private Bank as an executive director and wealth advisor. She had been with UBS since 2012. For a complete list of moves as well as access to the Advisor Hub offers tool to find out what your practice is worth, visit the deals and comps section of advisorhub.com. Thanks for joining us for this week's edition of the FA Show on Advisor Hub TV, powered by 3X Equity. I'm Nate Barrett. Have a great day.